I rise today to applaud the maker of this bill in her efforts to reduce domestic violence. I think domestic violence is a threat that can affect all of us. Personally, just a few miles from our farm, we had a multiple family shooting with a troubled teen using a rifle. I speak on this floor each year on the anniversary of a young woman who was killed in her kitchen as a result of domestic violence. She was killed with a knife. And personally, a good friend of mine, daughter, was murdered with a pistol to slow and then with a hammer. So I'm a strong supporter of creating the most safe environment we can for people who are impacted by domestic violence. My concern, Mr. Speaker, is in the details of this bill. We do not define what a weapon is. Under this category, this needs to be addressed. And if we can't address it through additional amendments in this body, then it needs to be addressed moving forward, because other weapons can be defined in many different ways. In Franklin School District, where multiple students were stabbed and slashed using a knife, the definition of weapons needs to be addressed, sir. A second concern is that we are removing a judge's ability to apply discretion in this case. And I feel and truly believe that in domestic violence situations, a judge's discretion is essential, because in our area, domestic violence or these types of claims can be used as a weapon in civil disputes. Now, Mr. Speaker, I have 4 daughters, and domestic violence can affect either way, against men and against women. But when I envision one of my daughters being the victim of domestic abuse, I want her to have all the protection and controls there. But if I envision that same daughter as a law enforcement officer, and she is being falsely accused by her spouse or mate of domestic violence charges, not having the ability for a judge to decide or apply discretion will cause her to lose her career, Mr. Speaker. And that is fundamentally wrong. A judge should be given the opportunity to review these facts. And an amendment could be placed in this bill to automatically remove these firearms if it's determined that there's a final PFA order needed. And maybe they need to be apart, but a judge should be allowed to apply discretion for an individual so that their profession is not ended as a result of a false allegation. Mr. Speaker, this bill needs more time or needs to be fixed as it advances to the Senate, because I support protections for domestic violence, but I do not support an absence of a definition of weapons and taking the authority from our judges to be able to deal with these situations. We have to trust at the most local level, and this bill takes that authority away. And so for that, at this point in time, I'll be voting no on the bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.